Alright guys, no Eagles game to talk about, celebrate, cry about here in the beginning of the video, so we'll just get right into the Week 8 review, Week 9 preview, but there's a little something to talk about the Eagles. Alright, I've been listening to the post-game press conferences with the San Francisco 49ers and all the rumblings in the league of the Eagles possibly trading for Colin Kaepernick and the 49ers really just not satisfied with Colin Kaepernick. Players are supposedly turning on him in the locker room and stuff like that, so he's just going to get shoved out of town. Trade deadline is today, or tomorrow. No, tomorrow. I can honestly see Kaepernick getting traded here to the Eagles, and I could see Chip Kelly heavily pursuing Colin Kaepernick to get him here. Now, my thoughts are something, completely to the side here, because it doesn't matter what I think. Right now, Chip Kelly is in a point where he's got to finish this season looking somewhat impressive, because if he finishes out this season and he's well on pace to finish under 500, he's really at a risk for losing his job, because this is the year. This is the past the two formative years of this team. He was given the full reins as GM and coach. He has to show us that he can make a winner out of the hand-picked squad that he chose. He cut away so much talent and all that stuff that I've reiterated time and time again. And frankly, Bradford is not doing it for him. Whether or not you feel like I do that it's suspect that all the receivers are magically dropping passes now, whether that's to sabotage Bradford, to get him out of here, or to get Chip fired, whatever the case is, I go on the record saying I'm not that big on Chip Kelly, and frankly, at the end of the season, if he's fired or if he's fired during midseason, I won't care. I won't care, because I don't think the guy is anything beyond an average head coach, and just getting an average head coach doesn't necessarily mean you win Super Bowls, and I'm all about winning Super Bowls at this point. Anyway, I could see Colin Kaepernick getting traded here, and that's the one bit of Eagles news that was pumping out of the rumor mill, but he'll probably end up on the Jets, because Geno Smith started again this week, but we'll get to that in a second. Anyway, let's go ahead and go right into the Week 8 review. Last night's game, Indianapolis at Carolina. Shitty weather conditions. I know people are going to say, well, the fumbles, the interceptions, everything, it's a bad weather game, These are professional athletes. They know how to play when it's a little rainy outside. But, that was a technical monsoon and all. But this may sound like I'm just like some bitter Carolina hater or something, but this is yet another unimpressive win from the Carolina Panthers. And I know it's like, oh, well, you're just a sore loser because they beat your team and all that. Well, let's look at the fucking facts here. Facts are, you had a 17-point lead with 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Your defense gives up 1 touchdown, 2 touchdowns, and then a field goal, and then another field goal in overtime, 20 unanswered points, until you retied the game in overtime and then went on to kick the field goal. If this game was played under previous year's rules, I know, but they're not, you would have lost this game, or 2 years ago, or 3 years ago before they instituted the... Well, anyway, I know, it sounds like I'm a bitter hater, but someone tell me what I am supposed to be so impressed with in this Carolina team. Their defense looked like fucking shit last night against a team that has been playing bad football. Your better defenses in the league are not going to let a bad football team score 17 unanswered points in the final 7 minutes of a game. Like, I'm sorry, just consider this fair warning. Like, I'm honestly trying to see things with an unbiased approach and just tell you Carolina Panthers fans not to get too excited. Don't get your hopes up. Don't just look at that record and say, like, damn, we're fucking world beaters, man. Whoa! Sorry, I added Ric Flair in there since it's, Kakalaki country there. Anyway, I'm just saying, this Carolina team is due for a disappointment. Will it happen next week? You're fucking right it will, but we'll get to that in the Week 9 preview. Anyways, Carolina wins again. Anyways, they're winning games. I'm not saying they don't look better than average. They're a good team. They're a playoff caliber team. But I'm just saying the Carolina Panthers fans that are making these guys sound like world beaters, pump your brakes a little bit because they aren't exactly setting the world on fire with their play. All biased outlook and just looking at this team for what they are, they just do not look that impressive. Speaking of looking not impressive, Detroit, what a treat it was to see them play in England. Detroit, Kansas City wins 45-10. Detroit has officially given up on this season. You'll often see this happen on a lot of teams that are playoff hopefuls, teams that have come out of the playoffs the previous year, where you just look at the team play and it's like, well, they're not giving 100%. Kind of like how J.J. Watt's not giving 100% for the Texans anymore, and I don't blame him. You're playing on a team of fucking losers, of fucking nowhere goers. I mean, what's the point of busting your ass, risking an injury, overexcelling on a play or something like that? That's what you're getting in Detroit. Detroit will be lucky to win 2 more games the entire season, which is a shame because that was a playoff hopeful team coming into this season, and it's just the story of the fucking Lions. They're the laughing stock 10 times as many times as they are a praised team in the NFL. It's just a sad story. Speaking of sad stories this year, and a team that I once thought was actually looking to be a pretty decent team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers beat the Atlanta Falcons 23-20 in overtime. Coming off that win last week against the Titans, where Atlanta won 10-7 or 10-9, whatever the hell the score. It was a small score. Anyway, followed it up with a performance like this. Losing to Tampa in Atlanta, crashed down to reality. What's their slogan? Keep soaring or something? Anyways, keep crashing down to the earth, whatever the hell it is. Rise up, rise down, rise down. Oh, man. Don't look now, but Tampa's got a few wins under their belt. Will they make the playoffs? Probably not, because Jameis Winston is nyeh. San Diego at Baltimore. Wow! The Baltimore Ravens won another football game, albeit by 3 points at home. But they won a football game. I figured they were due for a win. They aren't that bad. And frankly, of all the teams that have a really piss-poor record, the Baltimore Ravens are the quote-unquote best for what that's worth. I mean, they're not going anywhere, but they've lost every game they've lost this year. It's been by 1 score. And, not that you get anything special for losing games by 1 score, because, I mean, you still lost to the 49ers in the mix there. There's no excuse for that. Baltimore is that team that's a player or two away from being a serious contender again, because they can at least hang in games, and there is something for being able to do that. Well, they hung in. The Chicago Bears lost to the Minnesota Vikings 23-20. I really like this Minnesota team. I like this. They got a little bit of everything. They got a stud wide receiver who I think was taken in like the 5th, 6th round. And Chicago is Chicago. I mean, what's there to say? They're battling with the Lions to see who's the most putrid team to come out of that division. And Arizona Cardinals decided to flip the switch to on this week. I was a little concerned. I was like, that had trap game written on it, and Cleveland actually got out to the lead, and I was like, yikes, Arizona's getting primed here to get throttled. But then Arizona realized that they're the better team and they should win this game, and then they did win that game. The who gives a shit game of the week: Tennessee Titans put up 6 points. The Houston Texans put up 20. Whoopity doo. The New York Giants at the New Orleans Saints. What more could you ask from Eli Manning in this game? Oh, by the way, I tweeted out during this game that Drew Brees, right before he got his 4th touchdown, actually, I said, Drew Brees is going to finish this game with 8 touchdowns and break the single season record. He finished with 7. 511 yards. I'm bringing up the stats here. Let's see what Eli Manning had. 6 touchdowns, 30 for 41, 350. And he lost. 49-52. What a kick in the fucking dick. And don't look now, but the New Orleans Saints have 4 wins. And frankly, right now at the abysmal slop of teams in the NFC, that's very probable wild card range right now. Shit! Who would have thought that after the way New Orleans started out this season? Terrible. I'm torn as to whether or not this was a terrible game or a great game, because both defenses in this team, like, they should have been like, I don't know what. Like, they should have been not able to go in the locker room after the game. They should have been like, all right, offensive players only, come in. We're going to congratulate them. Defensive guys, just stay out in the hallway. Get changed out there. Here's your fucking clothes. Go get changed out here. Like, they didn't even deserve to be in the locker room with the offensive players. This was one of the worst defensive games that I've ever seen. And I'm not exaggerating. How do you give up this many yards, this many touchdowns through the air? And again, like Giants, that's the best game out of Eli Manning you're going to see all year, and you came away with a loss? Oh, but there's a bigger laugh to come. I wonder what that game is. Cincinnati at Pittsburgh. That's not the game, but Cincinnati, albeit didn't look that impressive, they won the game 16-10 over Pittsburgh. Big Ben was back, and actually, let me see. I'm curious to see what Big Ben did. I didn't look at his stats from this game. Yeah, 28 for 45, 3 interceptions. Okay. So, congratulations to the Cincinnati defense. Looks like you won this game. Actually, I don't even remember seeing many highlights. All I remember is that the Pittsburgh Steelers wore their jailbreak uniforms. Anyways, looking at the stats here. Yeah, Cincinnati, congratulations to Cincinnati defense. Won a game. A tough game on the road. 16-10, albeit not that impressive. Whatever. This game I did see the highlights of. San Francisco at St. Louis. Todd Gurley is a fucking beast. Now I know some people are saying how like you took that one run he had. You know, he ran 18 times for like 60 some yards. The thing is though, he gets the ball about 20 times a game, and every single game this year he's broke one for at least 40 plus yards. That's pretty much a guarantee. Every game, if you run him at least 20 times a game, he's going to have one run that puts you into scoring range. And that's what you want out of your running back. You want him to at least break one big run per game. And this guy is already looking like a mega star. I love seeing young players like this come into the league, hungry, passionate, and just tearing up the league right out the get-go. Just please don't get injured. I probably just jinxed the fucking shit out of that because I have a bad feeling. Anyways, St. Louis. You think they're missing Sam Bradford in St. Louis? Think they're missing Sam Bradford in St. Louis? I know it's just the 49ers and all, but 27-6. Another win. Geno Smith's return after he got knocked the fuck out and broke his jaw. I honestly would have kept Fitzpatrick in, but that's just me. Losing to Oakland 34-20, and you know, I didn't really pay Oakland much mind this year, and then I really looked into what they did in this game, and Oakland is actually a very good team. Like I said, that's something that's kind of off my radar, West Coast team. Carr is playing great. Who's their running back? Murray. I noticed he had like 120 yards or something in the game. Solid receiving core. Anyways, this team is actually pretty good. And like, you know, you kind of forget about the Raiders, and then all of a sudden they sneak up out of nowhere. It's like, oh damn, they're kind of decent this year. And I would not be surprised if they grabbed a wild card this year. You know, I'm joking about every time they lose, like, oh, they're fucking up their draft pick, because you just get in that perpetual thought of them, you know, screwing up draft pick after draft pick after draft pick. But, phew, they look pretty decent. Anyway, have fun with Geno Smith unless you get Colin Kaepernick. Like I said, I think Kaepernick's going to end up on the Jets or the Eagles by tomorrow. There's a lot of teams that don't have a good quarterback or a good wide receiver or a good wide receiver that returned from injury. And they somehow managed not to lose 5 games in a row. Pittsburgh, for example. How have the Steelers figured out a way to win? A couple weeks ago when Roethlisberger was on the bench and their third-string quarterback was in the game. How did the Pittsburgh Steelers figure out a way to win? And sorry my fingers are dirty. I was doing stuff. I was fixing the gutters outside and I got some shit all over my fingers. Anyways. It's on this hand too. It's kind of like the... we'll get to that in a second. How do you figure out a way to win without your starting quarterback in the game? How do you figure out a way to win when your star wide receiver returns? When your stud defensive lineman is beasted on the field? A guy that you acquired in the offseason because no one else wanted him. How do you figure out a way to win when pretty much you got an all-around solid team and you only have one excuse left, and that is we don't have our starting quarterback? How do you figure out how to win? If someone knows the answer in how you know how to win without a starting quarterback, could you fucking call the basement and tell the Dallas Cowboys what the formula is? Because those motherfuckers have been sitting down there all by them lonesomes with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Sixers. 5 losses in a row. We don't have Tony! We don't have Tony! We would have won this game! We would have scored more than 12 points as we did on Romo! Shut the fuck up! You lost 5 games in a row, Dallas. Enough of your fucking excuses. Seattle, I'll get to you in a second. Don't think you're getting by unscathed on this one. We don't have Tony. We would have won some of these games. You would have won some of these games. But the bottom line is, you've got a lot more problems than just not having your starting quarterback in the game. You scored 12 points. You got in scoring range 4 times. And came away with a field goal each time. Bailey, he's doing his thing. That's great. He's a star player. You got the clutchest kicker in the league. Most accurate kicker in the league. That alone should get you over the hump for a game or two while your starting quarterback is out. Oh. 5 games in a row of these fucking crybaby bitches in Dallas losing. We don't have Tony. We don't have Tony. There's a lot of fucking teams in this league that don't have Tony or don't even have anything close to Matt Castle. Like I said, how have the Steelers figured out how to... Get the fuck out of here, Dallas. Go the fuck back down the basement. You're not even worth talking to. Seattle, front and center. Front and center. You think I'm going to be impressed with putting up 13 points against the Dallas Cowboys? Get the fuck out of here. You ain't going anywhere this year. Don't think I didn't forget about you guys. You guys almost choked on this game. Missing a gimme field goal near the end of the game. Get the fuck out of here. You ain't going anywhere either, Seattle. Sit the fuck down. I'm sorry. Arizona's going to... Stand there and stare as Arizona shits on your fucking head from the top of the West. Fuck out of here. Green Bay at Denver. Thanks for not showing up in this game, Green Bay. But you know who did show up? Was the Denver defense again. And Peyton Manning still gets the credit because, like, well, did the Denver defense score any points? No, the Denver defense kept Aaron Rodgers to 50 fucking yards halfway through the third quarter. What? That is sick. That is sick. That is so much more impressive than an offense putting up 29 points. Again, people are just saying like, oh, well, the Denver offense put up 29 points. They won this game. No. Holding Aaron Rodgers to 50 yards halfway through. What did he even finish with anyway? Let me bring up his final stats. So let's see. 77 yards. 77 yards, and people want to talk about how good the Denver offense was for putting up 29 points? Do you fucking know football if you're going to think the Denver offense was the reason why they won this game? The Denver defense shutting down Aaron Rodgers, the league MVP from last year, to 77 yards. I didn't think that was humanly possible. Aaron Rodgers against any defense. I was fucking stunned. My jaw dropped by how good the Denver defense was in this game. You gotta wonder, how far can this Denver defense take this team? I mean, Tom Brady's bitch can only quarterback so well. By the way, I'm not even gonna refer to him by his real name. He's gonna be Tom Brady's bitch till he fucking retires. Tom Brady's bitch quarterbacked a pretty decent game, but he got outshone again by his team's defense. Speaking of Tom Brady, back to Thursday Night Football, New England. So I went on a stretch and thinking Miami was going to have an any given Sunday type win. Fuck me. New England is just the best goddamn team ever assembled. I mean, let's be real. Let's be fucking real. Tom Brady is the GOAT, and him and Belichick are just the king and queen of the league. I don't know who wears the skirt in the relationship. Who cares? Anyways, let's just go right on to week 9. It sickens me to see the Patriots this fucking good, but there's no denying it. Cleveland at Cincinnati Thursday. Cincinnati's going to win. They're going to win by at least 14 points. Philadelphia, Dallas, we'll get to that later on this week. Miami at Buffalo. I would have said 2 weeks ago that Miami would have stomped the floor. Stomped Buffalo right through the floor, but I don't know, Miami looked so fucking bad on Thursday night. But then again, they're playing the greatest fucking team of all time. Look for Miami to win. Barely. Green Bay at Carolina. This is the 1 o'clock game. This didn't get flexed out to the Sunday night game. Instead, we have the Eagles in Dallas playing the Sunday night game. The Eagles with 3 wins, Dallas with 2 wins. A combined total of 5 wins for the 2 teams playing the Sunday night football game. And we have a total loss of, Green Bay has 1, Carolina has none. Combined total of 1 loss between the 2 teams. And this doesn't get flexed. Oh boy, if that NFC East bias isn't... I said this weeks ago that if this Green Bay Carolina game doesn't get flexed to 8 o'clock, then the NFC East bias, and correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the time. Once you get to week 9, you are able to flex games. Someone may correct me if I'm wrong there. But anyway, I got Green Bay winning this game. Again, you may call it player hating or whatever, but I think Carolina's due. Carolina's due because they have not been playing impressive football. Whatever, if they win, I'll be here to tell you they looked impressive. Because this is a game where I don't care if you win by a field goal in overtime, that's impressive because this is one of the better teams in the league and no one's going to deny that. I don't care how bad they looked against Denver. It's one of the better teams in the league. St. Louis at Minnesota. I like Minnesota. I like the way they're playing. They got a threat at every position on offense. Holy shit. Washington going up to New England. You know, honestly, Washington is a better team than Miami. And that Miami team, that was a team that just showed up 2 weeks prior with a new coach. And, they wanted to play for Campbell. And they wanted to show that they have a team that's willing to play for a new coach. And I just think Washington is due. And frankly, Washington is playing the best football in the NFC East. I know it may be tough for some of you NFC East team fans to swallow, but the Washington Redskins are playing the best football in the NFC East. They may not necessarily have 4 wins like the Giants do, but they're hanging with teams. And I think they're going to hang with New England. And I think they're going to take this to overtime, and they're going to squeak out a victory. You fucking kidding me? New England's going to beat the piss out of them. New England's going to win by at least 21 points. Oh my God. Redskins fans are like, wow, he really thinks they're going to win. Get the fuck out of here. Tennessee at New Orleans. All of a sudden, New Orleans is playing well. The New Orleans defense is putrid, but Tennessee can barely get double-digit points per game. Look for New Orleans to win and win big at home. Jacksonville at the New York Jets. I don't care whoever's quarterback in this game. Geno Smith, Colin Kaepernick, whatever. The Jets are going to win at home. They're not that bad. Oakland at Pittsburgh. Now, this is a game I would have said is a gimme. You're starting to win me over, Oakland. Starting to win me over just a little bit. Just a little bit. Win this game, you would have won me over, but till then, Pittsburgh still wins at home. Big Ben doesn't have 2 bad games in a row. No, he doesn't. Atlanta at San Francisco. I'll tell you what, Atlanta, if you want to rise up, you better rise out of the fucking ashes that you're in after that shit win you had against the Titans, then losing last week to the Bucks. You got to win this game on the road. I don't care if it's on the road or not. You got to win this game. I have you winning this game. New York Giants at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If Tampa Bay showed that they could score a bit more, I'd have more confidence in them this game, because that defense for the Giants just fucking sucks. Except when they play the Cowboys! Except when they play the Cowboys! Anyway. Look for the Giants to win on the road. Denver at Indianapolis. Denver. Defense will win another game. We'll go over that Sunday night game a little later on this week. Chicago at San Diego. Monday Night Football. Wow, what a treat that game is. San Diego. A lot of byes this week. Arizona, Baltimore, Detroit, Houston, Kansas City, and Seattle. Anyways, that concludes our Week 8 review, Week 9 preview. Good week of football. Just one last parting shot. How about the Mets? I'm coming back out to pitch tonight. I'm coming back out to pitch tonight. No, you're coming back in to choke in front of your hometown crowd, Harvey. It's about as much as I get as far as a baseball rant. Props to KC. I appreciate a team in Kansas City that's built from the roots, didn't have to raid free agency, and the Royals came away with the World Series victory. So props to the Kansas City Royals for winning the World Series. Anyways, that concludes my football preview review and baseball World Series review. Special rivalry week coming up here with the Dallas Cowboys revenge game. Until then, fuck the Dallas Cowboys. Have a good day, everyone.